because what I feel is that I feel like we should get like a complete clean slate, kind of like what James Gunn is doing with the DCU. I think we should completely clean slate after Secret Wars and create a whole new saga, a whole new set of stories with some characters that we've seen before
Yeah.
and characters that we've been introduced to previously, like the new characters and stuff, right?
Which
So that way
that's
we can
what they're
bring.
gonna
That way we
do.
can bring. Yeah, which that way they can bring back um,
Certain
characters like
characters.
Iron Man, Captain America, Thor. You know, but with different actors and stuff, but different stories. You know what I mean? Not the same. They're not the same. 616 MCU. Uh, they're not replacing Robert Downey. They're not replacing Chris Evans or Chris Hemsworth. No one's replacing anybody. These are brand new characters with a whole new universe or whatever. What I mean, you know what I
And a
mean?
whole
Or
new
like
objective, yeah.
or like a merged universe or something with like two different universes merged, and now all these characters are back, but they're different, completely.
Hmm.
Um,
I get
I
what you're
think
trying to
that
say, yeah.
what should happen, or just like 100% clean slate, completely start over, whatever they want to do. Because obviously, no one wants the MCU to end. No one wants these Marvel movies to end. We want to see more stories. But the thing is, we want to see stories from the characters they already got rid of. You know what I mean? We want to see the stories that they've played out in. We want to see, you know, the again, like I was saying, like the supernatural stories and stuff like that. We want to see, the Avengers team up with Ghost Rider, or we want to see how Deadpool plays out with Iron Man, or plays out with Captain America, because he does in the comics a lot.
Hmm.
Stuff like that. It's like
Well, with
a
Spider-Man
lot.
and Deadpool.
We want to see the X-Men go to toe with the Avengers. You know what I mean? Because they do in the comics, where it was like Cyclops against I think Captain America or Iron Man, one of them. So it's like we want to see those stories play out. I feel like if they did like a reset after Secret Wars, because that is the bigger multiversal event, I think they can kind of clean slate it again, merge realities if they want to or whatever, but bring back those characters so that we could see those interactions, so that we could see those storylines kind of play out um, how they would.
Hmm.
Um,
It's
it's just
just Secret Wars, bro.
I hope it's I hope it's good, because right now with the way they're going, bro, it just doesn't seem freaking promising.
It would leave the biggest sour taste in our mouth if, like, let's say, I don't, if every single project is trash, like if it's consistent, if every single project is consistently inconsistent all the way up until Secret Wars, and we get a bad Secret Wars movie, man, Marvel's gonna have to go ghost for like 5-6 years.
Yeah.
Marvel's gonna have to go ghost for like a little while before they come back out of the shadows. Because you
Which I feel like they
can't,
should, because
after
they need.
Secret Wars, they should go back like into the shadows. I feel like they
Yeah.
should for 5-6 years until people are like begging. So supply and demand. Like after you give your supply, you wait for people to just demand that content back. Because you gotta think. All right, we're about to expose how old we are. We're gonna be in our 30s when that movie comes out.
Yeah.
So it's like once we wait 5 years after
How
Secret
old was
Wars,
I? How old was I in '08? I think it was about 11.
yeah.
Yeah, I was 11 when Iron Man came out. I'm 26 now. I'm gonna be
Okay.
27 in a few months. So it's
Hmm.
like,
You're gonna be 31 when that movie comes out.
yeah, I'm 31, bro. From 11,
From
that's a whole
11 to
30 years, bro.
you're almost you've waited 20 plus years
Yeah, I
for
mean
that
that's
movie to
30
come
years.
out.
Yeah, that's 20 years. That's a
You
whole
waited
20
20
years. Of my life.
years.
It's crazy.
We've been like imagine that we've been waiting for these Marvel movies to. We've been waiting for Secret Wars since we were 11 years old. We're gonna be 30. We're gonna be 30, 31 when that movie comes out.
Yeah, and I mean it's
Ouch.
what 11 years to finish
All the way
the
up until
Infinity.
Endgame.
Yeah.
That's insane. Like really, really break it down. I wish
Well,
we could say the same for DC. I wish we could say, man, we've been watching these DC movies. I mean, technically, we have been watching these DC movies, but they haven't impacted us, or at least how they should have, like how Marvel has impacted us. We can say, at the end of the day, we can say some of these Marvel projects are shit, but at the end of the day, when we're old, we're gonna talk about how impactful Marvel was for like 20 plus years of our lives.
Yeah.
That's crazy to think that. Now I'm hoping.
I hope DC has that same effect.
I hope DC has the same effect, because then fast forward 20 years from the age that we're at. All right, if DC has that same effect, we'll be almost in our 50s.
I mean, what? The only things we can talk about is the Dark Knight
Shit
trilogy.
coming
Yeah, the stuff coming up now, but I'm saying like in the around the time of the MCU, the only thing we could talk about is the Dark Knight trilogy, the Man of Steel movie, maybe.
And Zack Snyder's Justice League.
I wouldn't even force that on my son. That's a long ass.
You're talking about what? I would show, like, if
I had to watch the movie like in 3 parts, dude.
You didn't watch it all in one sitting? Was I the only one? Like me,
No.
Ray, Daryl, and all of us watched
Like, don't
it
get me
all
wrong,
one ago.
that version of the Justice League movie is infinitely better than the Whedon one, the Joss Whedon one.
Well, it's infinitely better than kind of basically all the projects we got before that. This is not including the Dark Knight trilogy.
But here's the problem I have with Zack Snyder is that he knows how to also make a movie fucking boring. Because there was the reason that movie is 4 hours is because the amount of fucking like time in between of that movie being completely boring. Like, just scenes that didn't need to be there. Like, it didn't need to be 4 hours long. If he would have condensed a lot of the movie and just left out like the little minuscule parts, the slow parts, like especially what pissed me off was it's like around the beginning of the movie where like Bruce goes to recruit Aquaman and obviously he denies or whatever, but it's that long scene of the villagers singing. I was like,
oh
why
my god, that was
that?
the dumbest part, and it's like
But
you're
it was
listening
like
to a soundtrack.
that wasn't the only scene. Like there's a bunch of like filler scenes that went on for way too long, and Zack Snyder has that problem where he likes to just
Exaggerate
milk
that
the
scene, yeah.
exaggerate it, or even if it's not with like something that's like too much dialogue or like too much of something, it's too much slow mo sometimes.
With the
And he
scene
does that
with
with all his movies. Slow mo he does with all his movies, which is why I'm afraid to watch Rebel Moon, because
it's gonna be a lot of slow mo.
that's the one thing I fucking hate about Zack Snyder is the slow mo.
Well, also,
I mean, I love it. I love most of his movies, but when it comes to like the slow mo shit, dude, he fucking milks the shit out of it. He loves that slow mo shit. Because even in like I don't know if you ever seen that movie Army of the Dead, the zombie movie he made.
yeah,
Like,
the intro of the movie was a bunch of slow mo shit.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, the whole movie wasn't like milked with slow mo, but
Yeah,
it was just shit like that. Like it's just like some long ass fucking song
yeah.
that had the title called fucking Zombie, and
Yeah.
then it was just played over that slow mo fucking scene.
The same thing for Watchmen. Watch the beginning of Watchmen. It's almost like the same concept as Army of the Dead.
They did have a lot. They did have a lot of that bullshit. 300 too. 300 had a lot of slow mo in it.
Hey, 300 is my fucking movie. I
I
fucking
think
love
the only Zack
300.
Snyder movie I know of that didn't have a lot of it was it's really old. I think that he made this, if I'm not correct. Dawn of the Dead.
Dawn of the Dead director was Zack Snyder. Dawn of the Dead.
So yeah, that's the only movie I know of that didn't. That is a movie that I watch every now and then when I have my little zombie fix. I watch a zombie movie as it's one of the movies I go to. Still a good movie.
So the
there's another movie
movies,
Much of it in.
the movies that Zack Snyder has directed are Dawn of the Dead, 300, Watchmen, League of.
Oh, he did
let-
Sucker Punch too.
he did Sucker
Has
Punch.
some slow mo in there too.
Sucker
lot of
Punch
it.
was also a bad movie as well. On top of that, it had a
Bad
great fucking concept. Like when I was when I was watching the trailers and stuff as a kid, and even watching the trailers back now, I was like, this movie could be a pretty badass movie. Then it ends up poorly performing because there's a whole bunch of shit in there that doesn't need to be put in. I think Zack Snyder's cinematography is fucking amazing.
Oh yeah, that's where he excels, is the cinematography.
He has beautiful shots.
To me personally, it's just the writing and then some of the exaggerated scenes. That's the only thing that kill it for me when it comes to Zack Snyder movies. Which is why it was hard for me to watch Justice League, because it was just too much of it, in my opinion. Too much filler scenes. Again, the movie is 4 hours long, dude. I watched this in 3 parts. Anytime and it was like those like scenes too, with like the black screen, and then I had like a title of like the next.
Oh, that was like
section.
10 fucking seconds long.
Dude, that's where I would pause it and turn it off.
You'd be like, all right,
That's
cool.
why I watched it in parts, because I was like, all right.
I will say another one, and some people may feel some type of way about this, but when Barry Allen was saving what the fuck was her name? Jesus, I forget. Iris. When Barry was saving Iris, that went on way too fucking long.
It did. It was really awkward.
Yeah, because he's just sitting there and he's like looking at her the whole time, and he's like rubbing her face, and then it almost is kind of really creepy. It makes you think like, what else could he have done in this scene? it really fucks with my mind when I'm thinking about it. I'm like, he rubbed her face, he's like barefoot right now, like what else could he have just thrown in there?